It is one of the most baffling serial murder cases in modern American history, centered on this lonely stretch of sand on the south shore of Long Island, New York. Gilgo Beach, a small community with a big mystery on its hands. The bodies of 15 brutally murdered young women. And there seems to be a pattern. Many of them under 5 feet tall and less than 100 pounds. All dumped in the surrounding dunes over a period of 20 years.
These girls did not deserve to die the way they did. They didn't deserve to have their bodies discarded in the manner. And the families and these girls deserve justice.
But as the body count has risen, confidence in anyone's ability to find the killer is at an all-time low.
They need to finally wake up and realize the victims, their families need information. I don't want to live the rest of my life wondering if this person's going to be caught.
Even the experts disagree among themselves.
I think it's the same serial killer. And as far as the speculation, we have 3, we have 2, we have 4, that's all silliness. Any homicide cop worth his salt knows that these cases are related.
And at least one guy might have some answers, if he can survive the questions.
What about all the other girls?
Ah! Jesus!
What was that?
We'll have more about this bizarre moment later. Not a day goes by that Mary Gilbert doesn't long for an answer to the death of her 23-year-old daughter, Shannan.
If you pick up the phone and call investigators or the detective that's been assigned to you, do you get calls back?
No, they won't talk to me.
Shannan had traveled from New Jersey to Oak Beach, Long Island, near Gilgo Beach, for a date. Later that night, she was seen running through the neighborhood in a blind panic. Gilbert family attorney John Ray has logged over 700 hours on the case, tracing her steps that night.
She runs out of his home. She calls 911. She runs through the neighborhood knocking on doors. And whenever someone comes to the door who attempts to call the police but not take her in, she runs.
And that's the last anyone's heard of her.
Talk to me about what happens. Talk to me about a phone call your daughter made.
911 call for help, lasting 23 minutes.
23 minutes.
Screaming.
Police cleared her date of any foul play, but she remained missing and her family pressed for answers. Former homicide commander of the NYPD Bronx Homicide Task Force, Shannan Gilbert, has worked hundreds of murder cases and has studied this one closely.
I don't think if Shannan Gilbert's mother didn't make the hue and cry that she did, that they would have done anything in Suffolk County. If that was some millionaire debutante from the Hamptons, I bet you there would have been a whole crew out there looking for her.
7 months later, police search teams find the body of a young woman in the weeds off Gilgo Beach. But it's not Shannan.
A police officer thought they found her, but they actually found another body along Ocean Parkway.
Police widen the search area, still looking for Shannan. Instead, they find the remains of 3 more young women, all of them like the first discovered body, strangled, stuffed in burlap bags, hidden in the scrub off the beach. Detective Dominic Varun is a former Suffolk County chief of detectives who worked on the case.
The initial 4 bodies, we believe, would simply, the killer simply drove along Ocean Parkway, pulled off to the side of the road, the shoulder, we believe, removed the body and tossed it into the bramble as far as he could.
As the case progressed, Mary Gilbert became friends with Lorraine Ela. Her daughter Megan Waterman was among the first victims found, 6 months after she went missing.
When I first got the phone call that Megan was missing, something told me, I guess I call it mother's instinct. I knew she wasn't coming back alive.
You knew that?
I knew it the day I got that phone call.
The following spring, police find 6 more bodies near Gilgo Beach.
This is the area along Gilgo Beach where the bodies were found. In the winter, it's cold, it's quiet, and it's very dark. But in the summer, at the time of the discoveries, there were a lot of people here. Now, out of those 10 bodies, not including Shannan's, only 5 have been positively identified.
When added with remains found in the wider area over 2 decades, some believe the killer may be responsible for up to 17 murders, more than half of them unidentified. The nameless victims include an Asian male in women's clothing and a mother and her young child.
It was a unique case because there was a disposal site. Not many serial killers maintain a body disposal site. Now, the psychological significance of a disposal site is that the killer goes back to this site much more comfortable, second, third, and fourth time, but gets to relive the event. Because the total control of another being is what drives them.
Police get their first break in the case when they made a connection with 24-year-old victim Melissa Barthelemy. Someone, possibly her killer, used her cell phone from Manhattan to call her sister with a chilling message.
This guy is a sexual sadist, there's no doubt about it. For him to take the phone and call Melissa's little sister and vividly describe what he did to her sister and how he's going to do it to her, that is him reliving the crime. The problem was that the cell calls were made from Midtown Manhattan and out in the island. They couldn't find him. There's too many calls. And then he disposed of the phone.
Next, who is the Long Island serial killer? Investigators get to work on a possible profile, but with little results.
We absolutely believe that he knows Long Island very well as New York City. And there's a very good chance that he resides within the Long Island area.
And later, we confront the man who could bring this case to its knees, if he can only stay on his feet.
No, don't. No, it's all right. No. I'm a doctor.